For a very long time, electricity and magnetism were considered as two separate phenomena. But in 19th century, few scientists like Oersted, Ampere and others, they conducted several experiments and they showed that there is a relation between electricity and magnetism. In Oersted experiment, suppose if a conductor and a magnetic needle, this is a pivoted magnetic needle. Pivoted magnetic needle means, suppose if I assume this as a magnetic needle, it is mounted over a sharp point. So that is the meaning of pivoted magnetic needle. So if this pivoted magnetic needle is kept by the side of the conductor, and now before passing the current through the conductor, if the needle used to be along this direction, then soon after passing the current, the needle used to deflect in one of the direction depending upon the direction of the current flow. So now the needle from its initial position, it used to deflect either like this or like this. So the deflection of the magnetic needle is sufficient to say that there exists a magnetic field all around this conductor. So from this we can conclude that there is a relation between electricity and magnetism, because on passing the current only the needle got deflected. So if we stop passing the current, then what happens means the needle, instead of deflecting like this, now it comes back to its original position like this. So what we can conclude from this experiment means, by passing the current through a conductor, in the region all around the conductor, magnetic field is produced. Okay, that means from the current, magnetic field is produced. Is the reverse not possible, or is the converse not possible? Usually we call this effect as magnetic effect of current. What is meant by magnetic effect of current? Whenever you pass the current through a straight conductor or through any coil, in the region around the conductor or coil, magnetic field is produced. And we call this effect of current as magnetic effect of current. So the reverse of or the converse of magnetic effect of current is also possible. That means by making use of current, when you are able to produce the magnetic field, then certainly by making use of this magnetic field, we are able to generate or we are able to produce the current. So that is what we study in this chapter, electromagnetic induction. So the converse of the magnetic effect of current is also possible. And this effect, that means the converse of magnetic effect, means producing current from the magnetic field, was demonstrated by a physicist known as Michael Faraday. So Faraday conducted several experiments to show that current can be produced by making use of changing magnetic field or changing magnetic flux. Suppose if I consider these lines as magnetic field lines, and this is nothing but uniform magnetic field. Okay, suppose if I consider like this, so even this line represents the magnetic field lines, but only thing is it is an uniform field, whereas this one is nothing but non-uniform field, non-uniform magnetic field. Okay, suppose in a changing magnetic field means what? Number of magnetic lines of force that should keep changing either in an increasing manner or in a decreasing manner. Now in this figure 4 lines of force are there. Here once again 4 magnetic lines of force are there. If the number of lines of force keeps varying, then we call that as changing magnetic field. In such a changing magnetic field, if a circuit is placed then what happens means in that circuit an EMF and current are induced, and this phenomenon is known as electromagnetic induction. Say for example, now I consider one conductor. Let us say these are nothing but the magnetic field lines. So 4 lines of force are there. Now if the 4 lines now changes to say for example 7 lines, that means the magnetic field or the magnetic flux. We shall define what is meant by magnetic flux little later. So for time being, let us consider that magnetic field or magnetic flux. So if this magnetic flux, we can represent this magnetic flux by the symbol phi b. If I consider these lines as magnetic field, then I represent that by B. So understand the difference. If I treat these lines as magnetic flux, then I represent that by phi b. If I treat these lines as magnetic field lines, then I represent that by B. So let us consider the magnetic lines of force. Initially 4 lines were supposed to be linking. Now if 4 lines become 7 lines, then what happens between the two ends of the conductor, an EMF is produced. EMF means nothing but voltage or potential difference. So between these two ends, an EMF E means voltage is produced. Similarly, if you consider a coil of wire, say for example this is a coil of wire. Now if in this through this coil of wire, if I apply one changing magnetic field, that means if the magnetic lines of force linking with this coil, so this is nothing but conductor. So if the magnetic flux linking with this coil once again changes, let us assume 3 lines may become 4 lines, 4 lines may become 5 lines. Like that we have to apply the changing magnetic field or changing magnetic flux. Then once again what happens means between the two ends of the coil an EMF is generated. Means voltage is produced. But no current flows through both this conductor and as well as through the coil. The reason is it is said to be in open circuit. The two ends of the conductor are not connected, not closed, kept open. Similarly, here the two ends of the coil are kept open. So no current flows. Suppose if I close these two ends of the conductor, say for example, if I connect these two ends by means of a current sensitive device known as galvanometer, then what happens means current flows through this conductor in one of the direction. As a result of that, the galvanometer shows the deflection. Similarly, now if the two ends of the coil are connected by means of a current sensitive device known as galvanometer, now the current starts flowing through the coil, thereby the galvanometer shows the deflection in one of the direction. So the deflection in the galvanometer is sufficient to say that electromagnetic induction is taking place both in this coil and as well as in this conductor. So remember one thing, if it is kept open, only EMF, that means potential difference, is generated between the two ends of the conductor and between the two ends of the coil. If once the two ends are closed, that means now it forms a closed circuit. Without galvanometer, the conductor is said to be in open circuit. Similarly, here also without galvanometer, the coil is said to be in the open circuit. When once we connect the galvanometer, now it is said to be closed circuit. Here also it is said to be closed circuit. Now the current starts flowing. So therefore, here the phenomenon of producing an EMF, induced EMF and induced current in a closed circuit only when it is placed in a changing magnetic flux or changing magnetic field is known as electromagnetic induction. See, electro means related to current. Magnetic means we are making use of magnetic field lines. Induction means encouragement. So here the change in the magnetic lines of force or magnetic flux is encouraging the conductor to produce the current. Okay. So then what is the definition of electromagnetic induction? So let us write the definition of electromagnetic induction. Before writing the definition of electromagnetic induction, let us know once again one key point. If the circuit is open, only EMF, that means voltage is generated, no current flows. If the circuit is closed, both in this case, circuit is closed. In such a case, only the current flows. The EMF that is generated by this method is known as induced EMF, and the current that is produced or generated by this method means by applying a changing magnetic field, is known as induced current. Induced current and as well as induced EMF. So let us write the definition. So whenever a magnetic flux or magnetic field linking with a closed circuit changes, this is very important, the word changes, then an EMF and current are induced in that circuit, and this phenomenon is known as, and we call this phenomenon, okay, known as electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction. So Faraday conducted several experiments to demonstrate the electromagnetic induction, and finally he succeeded in it. And this concept of electromagnetic induction is not only of theoretical use, it is of great practical utility. In electromagnetic induction, for the generation of induced EMF and induced current, what is mainly responsible means change in the magnetic flux or magnetic field. If magnetic flux or magnetic field lines linking with the closed circuit do not change, then no EMF or current are induced in that circuit. Though it is a closed circuit, no EMF and current are induced if no magnetic lines of force linking with that circuit changes. So what is mainly important means change in the magnetic flux or change in the magnetic field lines plays an important role in the generation of induced EMF or induced current in a closed circuit. Now let us know about what is meant by magnetic flux, represented by phi B. See, it is defined as number of magnetic lines of force passing normally through a given area. Say for example, I imagine one area like this. Through this area may be of any shape. It may be of circular shape or it may be of square shaped area. I can consider like this. Square shaped area or even rectangular shaped area I can consider. So through this area, how many magnetic lines of force pass? See, this is area. This is area in which I imagined. Then these are nothing but the magnetic field lines passing through this area. Normally means perpendicularly. Then flux through this entire area is defined as number of magnetic lines. Then according to this definition, can I say that the flux through this entire area is equal to 5? Because I have taken 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So can I call the flux through this area is equal to 5? No, not at all. Only for the definition's sake we consider number of magnetic lines. But the correct way of finding the flux through any area is by making use of one mathematical equation. What is that equation means? That equation is nothing but phi B equal to B into A into cos theta. What is B? B is nothing but magnetic field. Now, this line, red colored line, represents the magnetic field lines. Now, what is the flux through this area means? Don't count the lines and say that flux through this area, that is phi B, through this area is equal to phi. This is wrong. Then how do you find the flux through this area? Flux through this area is determined by making use of this formula. B is the magnetic field. A is the area, magnitude of the area taken. Theta is the angle. Theta is the angle between what? Angle between the area vector and the magnetic field. Suppose if this is the area in which I have chosen, and if this is nothing but the area vector, how do we draw the area vector? Area vector should be drawn perpendicular to the surface area. So like this. So this is area vector. And what about this? This represents magnetic field line. So this is area vector and this is magnetic field line. Now the angle between these two, angle between this area vector and this magnetic field line, this angle is nothing but equal to theta. So therefore, this is how we find the magnetic flux through a given area. So we already know and we already studied about area vector. Area vector is nothing but a vector which represents the area of a given surface, and the direction of that vector should be always outwards to that area. So that is why we have taken the area all along this direction but not towards the area itself. Direction of area vector should not be towards the area itself. It should be away from the area. And this can also be defined mathematically in another form. What does that means? Flux, magnetic flux through given area is also defined as product of the area and the component of the magnetic field. If I consider the component of the magnetic field, what is the component of the magnetic field? B cos theta. So the product of the component of the magnetic field and the area vector, so that is also nothing but the magnetic flux through the given area. And mathematically, see, it is also represented as dot product of, this can also be represented as dot product of the magnetic field and the area vector, because the dot product of any two vector is always represented by the magnitude of these two vectors. What is the magnitude of the vector? Magnitude of the vector B is B. What is the magnitude of the area vector? It is A, and cosine of the angle between these two vectors. So this is nothing but the dot product of the two vectors, that is magnetic field vector and area vector. So remember, this is one definition. Mathematically, it is also defined as the product of the magnitude of the area vector and the component of the magnetic field. So also known as product of the magnitude of the area vector. Product means into magnitude of the area vector and the component of the magnetic field. After resolving the magnetic field into two mutually perpendicular components known as rectangular component. So one of the rectangular component I take. What is that rectangular component? B cos theta. If I multiply that by the magnitude of the area vector, then this also gives the magnetic flux through the given area. And this magnetic flux is a scalar quantity and its SI unit is, look here, magnetic field unit is Tesla, area unit is meter. So Tesla meter square is the SI unit of this magnetic flux. Now, Faraday conducted too many experiments and finally succeeded in demonstrating the electromagnetic induction. So let us state the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. What are the law states? The law states that magnitude of induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux. See, this is the statement of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. That means if E is the EMF induced in a closed circuit due to change of magnetic flux linking with it, then this magnitude of EMF should be proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux. d phi b represents the change in magnetic flux, dt represents the time, change in time. So rate of change of magnetic flux is directly proportional to the induced EMF. See, this is the statement of the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Now let us explain and know the meaning of the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Say for example, there is a conductor. I consider one straight conductor. Now at a time t1 equal to 0, that means initial time, let the magnetic flux or the number of magnetic lines of force linking with this conductor be equal to phi 1, which is equal to 3. Now, after a time of, let us say, 1 second t2, in 1 second, let the number of magnetic lines of force now getting linked with this conductor be equal to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, what is the change in magnetic flux? d phi b is the change in magnetic flux. And this d phi b is given by phi 2 minus phi 1, which is equal to 6 minus 3 equal to 3. Then what is the change in time? dt, which is equal to t2 minus t1, which is equal to 1 minus 0 equal to 1 second. So here 3 lines of force are getting changed in 1 second. So initially it was only 3. Now within 1 second, 3 lines, instead of 3 lines, 6 lines of force gets linked. That means in 1 second, 3 lines of force are said to be changing. 3 lines of force linking with the conductor are said to be changing. Now as a result of this, let the EMF induced between the two ends of the conductor. So let this EMF be equal to 2 volt. All these are some random values in which I am giving, not the correct measured values or experimental values. So for the sake of understanding, we shall choose some numerical values. Now EMF induced is equal to how much? 2 volt due to change of how many lines? 3 lines in 1 second. Okay. Now let us consider the same situation. Same conductor, initially T1 equal to 0, let the magnetic flux, that means magnetic lines of force linking with it, be equal to 3. Then after a time of, let us say, 1 second, now let the magnetic lines of force getting linked with this be equal to, count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Phi 2 equal to 10. That means now change in flux is given by d phi b equal to phi 2 minus phi 1, which is equal to 10 minus 3 equal to 7 lines. So 7 magnetic lines of force linking with the conductor are said to be changing in a time of dt t2 minus t1, 1 minus 0 equal to 1 second. See, in the previous case, for 1 second, 3 lines of force linking with the conductor got changed. As a result of the 2 volt of EMF is induced between the two ends of the conductor. Now with the same conductor, due to change of 7 lines of force, in the same time 1 second, does the magnitude of induced EMF between the two ends of the conductor once again remains to be 2 volt? No, it should increase. Certainly it will increase. Now the induced EMF between the two ends of the conductor, so let that induced EMF now be equal to, let us say, around, I consider 5 volt. Induced EMF is equal to 5 volt. So that is the meaning of this. Okay, so that's the meaning of this. So the change in flux, if it increases, then the magnitude of EMF also increases. In 1 second, if it is only 3 lines that are getting changed, whereas in the same 1 second, if 7 lines linking with the conductor gets changed, then magnitude of induced EMF changes. See, it got increased. EMF is directly proportional to the change in flux. So let us write here, what is d phi b by dt? D phi b by dt is nothing but equal to how much? Or else E proportional to d phi by dt. See, this implies that what is the EMF induced here? 5 volt. Phi is directly proportional to d phi b by dt. So d phi b is nothing but 7, dt is 1. 7 by 1. 7 lines gets changed in 1 second, inducing an EMF of 5 volt. Here, how many lines? E proportional to d phi b by dt implies that how many lines of force are changing here? What is the EMF induced? EMF induced is 2 volt. 2 volt, 2 proportional to d phi b by dt. What is d phi b by dt? 3 divided by 1. So 3 lines of force got changed in 1 second, inducing a small EMF of 2 volt. Here 7 lines of force got changed in the same time duration 1 second, inducing a larger EMF. So this shows that as this becomes maximum, induced EMF also becomes maximum. So this is the meaning of the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. You just see the difference. Whenever we speak about EMF, we simply say that EMF as only EMF as potential difference or voltage. Whereas induced EMF is nothing but the current that is generated. The current that is generated in a closed circuit due to change of magnetic flux linking with it. So we can say that the direction of induced EMF and induced current are found to be one and the same. Now here, let us know how the flux linking with the coil changes or how the flux linking with the circuit changes inducing an EMF. Now say for example, I have drawn one diagram. This is nothing but a bar magnet. These are nothing but magnetic lines of force. Suppose if I consider one imaginary area like this, area of any shape, the lines of force, number of lines of force passing through this area is known as magnetic flux. Number of magnetic lines of force passing normally through this area is known as magnetic flux. Okay. Now this is nothing but a coil of wire, copper coil of wire. Now keeping this magnet fixed, I keep this magnet fixed or let this magnet be at rest. Suppose if I move the coil, look here, I start moving the coil. Let us observe that how the flux changes when the coil is moved towards the north pole of the magnet and when the coil is withdrawn from the north pole of the magnet. Let us start like this. Look here, initially how many lines of force are linking according to the figure? Only 1, 2, first one, second one, these two. These are the 2 lines passing through what? Passing through this coil. Okay, so these 2 lines cuts the magnetic field lines, cuts the area of the coil. Let us move it further. If I move further now, how many lines of force are said to be linking? 1, 2, 3. So let us write this. Initially, when the coil was at this position, only 2 lines. Look here, 1, 2. 2 lines. Then, if I move it further, like this, up to here, how many lines? 1, 2, 3. So 2 will become now 3 lines. If I move further now, how many lines of force are said to be linking? Look here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it will become 4 lines. Further, if I move close to the north pole, how many lines of force are said to be linking? So count it properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 lines. 5 lines of force are said to be linking. That means if the coil is moved towards the north pole, the magnetic flux linking with the coil goes on increasing. Suppose if the coil is withdrawn from here at this position, it is 5 lines. Phi B equal to 5 lines. Now if I move this to this position, 4 lines gets linked, 1, 2, 3, 4, reverse of this, 5 line will become 4 line. If I move further now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 3 lines of force are said to be linking. If I move it further, how many lines of force are said to be? 2 lines. So by moving the coil towards the north pole, the flux goes on increasing. Whereas if you move the coil away from the magnet, that means away from the north pole of the magnet, the flux linking with the coil goes on decreasing. It decreases. Same effect is observed if the coil is kept at rest. By keeping the coil at rest, if you move the magnet, same effect we notice. If you move the north pole of the magnet, the flux linking with the coil goes on increasing. If you move the magnet away from the coil, then the flux linking with the coil goes on decreasing. See, this is just for the sake of understanding how the magnetic flux linking with the coil changes when either the magnet is moved towards the coil or the coil itself is moved towards the magnet. Now, based on this understanding, let us now state a law known as Lenz's law, which is used to find the direction of induced EMF and as well as induced current. So, Lenz's law. What is the statement of this law? So, this is nothing but the statement of the Lenz's law. It states that the direction of the induced EMF is always such that, so induced EMF direction will be always in such a way that EMF is going to oppose the EMF direction. EMF direction means current direction. I already told you that the direction of induced EMF and induced current are one and the same. So whenever I speak about induced EMF, so keep in your mind that induced current also. So the direction of induced EMF or induced current is such that it always, the direction of the current always opposes the change. What actually it opposes? It opposes the change that causes it. Let us now know the meaning of this law. Lenz's law is used to find the direction of induced current or induced EMF. Remember this. Now I have two diagrams here. Let us imagine a circular coil. See, by saying circular coil, if I write the shape of the coil in oval form or oval shape, what does it mean? It means that, look here, the coil is kept like this. That means you are able to see from that side, you are able to see the edge of the coil. You are not able to see the plane of the coil. Plane of the coil can be seen either from this side or from this side. Whereas from this side, always only the side or the edge of the coil can be seen. So with respect to this shape, always remember that the coil is kept like this, such that the plane of the coil is perpendicular to the plane of the board. So this is the plane of the coil and the plane of the coil is perpendicular to the plane of the board. Suppose if I write the coil like this, completely in circular form. In this case, the plane of the coil is parallel to the plane of the board. So let us consider this now. Now suppose by keeping the coil at rest, if I move the north pole of the bar magnet, then as I explained earlier, what happens if the north pole of the bar magnet is moved? So this is the motion of the magnet. Then the flux linking with the coil goes on increasing. That means the magnetic lines of force linking with the coil, linking with the plane of the coil goes on increasing. How it increases? Say for example, 2 lines may become 5 lines, 5 lines may become 10 lines, 10 lines may become 15 lines. So this happens as long as you keep moving the magnet. If you stop moving the magnet, then the lines of force linking with the coil do not change, it becomes constant. No change occurs if the motion of the magnet is stopped. So keep moving the magnet in order to change the flux. If the flux changes like this in an increasing manner, then what happens means here current is induced in this circuit or in this coil. I can consider this as a coil or even as a loop of wire. Loop means only one turn, one round of wire. Only one round of wire like this. Okay. Coil means having several number of turns. So I can imagine this either as a coil of wire or as a loop. So by moving the north pole, the flux linking with it goes on increasing. That means it changes. Thereby a current is induced. A current is induced in the coil. What is the direction of that current? Now the direction of that current, so this is the direction of current. The direction of the current will be in anti-clockwise direction. As a result of that current, now what happens? The near face of the loop or the coil behaves like a north pole. Suppose if this is the coil, this is the near face to the north pole. So the near face behaves like a north pole, whereas the far off face, that means opposite face, behaves like a south pole. As a result of this, now what happens? The north pole which occurs on this surface, now it's going to repel. It's going to repel the north pole of the bar magnet. That means the motion of the magnet is opposed. Motion of the magnet is opposed means the flux change. That means increase of flux is opposed. It is opposed by what? It is opposed by the EMF itself. See, for the production of this EMF, induced EMF or induced current, what is responsible? See, for the production of EMF, motion is responsible. Motion of the magnet. Because motion of the magnet, what it does? It changes the flux. Flux changes. So flux changes occurs and EMF is induced because of motion of the magnet. Now this EMF, that means current, according to the law, it should oppose the motion. That means it should oppose the movement of the magnet. How does it oppose us? The current itself is not going to oppose the motion of the magnet directly. The current opposes the motion of the magnet by repelling it. How? Indirectly, by producing a north pole at the near face. So like pole always repels. So this north pole, now what it does means it tries to push back the magnet. That is the meaning of opposition. So direction of induced EMF or current is always such that it opposes the change. Change here is nothing but motion. And this motion is opposed by this induced current. So that is the meaning. So the current opposes how? By means of north pole, producing the north pole. So that is the meaning of the Lenz's law. So here what happens? Moving the magnet, if we move a magnet like this, it means that we are spending some mechanical energy on it. By spending the mechanical energy, we are able to generate one more type of energy, which is nothing but electric energy. According to the law of conservation of energy, if one energy disappears, another energy should appear. So here, mechanical energy is lost. That means it is spent in the form of motion. Instead of which, what is produced? Electric energy is produced. So this clearly shows that Lenz's law is in accordance with the law of conservation of energy. Okay, it obeys, Lenz's law obeys the law of conservation of energy. Though Lenz's law gives the direction of induced EMF or induced current, still it obeys the law of conservation of energy. Now, let us consider one more explanation. Instead of moving the north pole towards the coil or the loop, so let us consider this as the loop. Once again, here loop is kept at rest. What is moved here? North pole of the bar magnet is moved away from the loop. If north pole of the bar magnet is moved away from the loop, what happens? The flux linking with the loop, magnetic flux. So this flux phi b goes on decreasing. How it decreases? 15 lines now may become 10 line, 10 line may become now 5 line, 5 lines may become 2 lines. L stands for lines. So 15 lines may decrease to 10, 10 lines may decrease to 5 lines, 5 lines may decrease to 2 lines. Once again here what is happening? The flux linking with the loop is changing because of the motion of the magnet. Now in this case, the direction of the induced current, how it will be? See, the direction of the induced current or induced EMF in this loop will be in clockwise direction. As a result of that, the near face of the loop, suppose if this is the loop or the coil, this near face now behaves like a south pole. Now this south pole, what it does means, it tends to attract the magnet. That means motion of the magnet is in this direction. That motion is opposed. That motion is opposed by means of induced current, indirectly through south pole. How? The south pole tends to attract the north pole. So that's the meaning of the statement of the Lenz's law. Now, by making use of Faraday's law and Lenz's law, we can write one equation. What is that equation means? E equal to, or else, we know that according to Faraday's law, E is proportional to d phi b by dt. Now, E equal to, I can write like this, minus K into d phi b by dt. What is K means? K is a constant and its value is equal to 1 in SI unit. So, thereby now, E becomes equal to minus d phi b by dt. What does this minus sign or negative sign represent? Negative sign represent the direction of induced EMF is such that it always opposes the change. Change means motion. Always opposes the change that causes it. Now suppose if I consider, instead of loop, if I consider a coil of wire consisting of several number of turns, and again suppose if the magnetic flux linking with this loop or linking with this coil changes, then what is the EMF that is induced in this case? It is given by E equal to N minus N into d phi b by dt. N refers to what? N refers to the number of turns in the coil, or else this can also be written like this: E equal to minus d by dt N into phi b. Remember, phi is the magnetic flux linking with only one loop, that means one turn of the wire, phi b. Suppose if there is a coil of how many turns? N turns, then the flux linking with this entire coil is given by N into phi b. That is what I have written. So this can be written as now minus, I take out N outside, N into d phi b by dt. So this is equal to minus N. For phi b, what I can write means, I write the next step here. What is phi b means? But phi b is equal to B into A according to the magnetic flux equation. What happened to cos theta? Cos theta becomes equal to 1. How cos theta becomes equal to 1? Look here. Theta is the angle between the magnetic field and the area vector. Suppose if this is the coil and if this is nothing but the direction of magnetic field, how will be the area vector? Area vector will be like this. This is the area vector. So let us rewrite this diagram for clear understanding. So this is nothing but a coil, okay. So this is nothing but the direction of magnetic field. How do you draw the area vector? Area vector is always drawn away from what? Away from the area in which direction? Outward direction. This is area vector and this is nothing but magnetic field. Magnetic field and area vector are parallel to each other. Therefore, theta equal to how much? 0 degree. If theta equal to 0 degree, then what happens to this equation now? So this equation now becomes equal to B into A. Cos theta means cos 0. Cos 0 is nothing but 1. So if I substitute phi B equal to B into A in this equation, now this equation becomes finally E equal to minus N into d by dt. For phi b, what I can substitute? I can substitute B into A. So if I take out A, then it will be equal to E equal to minus N into A into dB by dt. See, this is nothing but the EMF induced in a coil of wire consisting several number of turns. How many turns? N number of turns. And this relation is known as Newman's relation. So once again, negative sign indicates that the direction of induced EMF always opposes the change. That means the induced EMF that is produced opposes the motion of the magnet, both in this case also in this case. Suppose for time being, if we assume that if Lenz's law were not true, let us assume for a fraction of a second that if Lenz's law were not true, then instead of north pole here, what should be produced? South pole should be produced. If I assume the Lenz's law, which is not true for time being, then When you move the north pole of the bar magnet, then instead of north pole, here what should be produced? South pole. If that is the case, what happens? No need to move the magnet, because south pole itself attracts the magnet. As a result of that, this speed and kinetic energy of the magnet goes on increasing. When kinetic energy and speed of magnet increases, the induced current also goes on increasing. That means what has happened here? Without spending any mechanical energy, we are able to generate electric energy, which is not possible. This is strictly against to the law of conservation of energy, violation of law of conservation of energy. That means without spending any mechanical energy, we are able to generate electric energy, which is not possible because it is against to the law of conservation of energy. So this means strictly when you move the north pole of the bar magnet, always what should be produced here? North pole should be produced. North pole only should be produced. So that is why Lenz's law is always considered to be true. It is not going to violate the law of conservation of energy, because without spending any form of energy, we are not able to generate any new energy. At the expense of one type of energy, a new energy can be created or generated. So that's nothing but the law of conservation of energy statement or meaning. And Lenz's law strictly obeys the law of conservation of energy, and it is always true. In order to demonstrate the electromagnetic induction, Faraday conducted several experiments. Now let us explain the Faraday's experiment. Mainly we consider two experiments of Faraday. One is known as coil and magnet experiment, and another one is nothing but coil and coil experiment. Faraday's experiment to demonstrate electromagnetic induction. Okay, the first experiment in which I am going to consider is coil and coil experiment. The second experiment, first experiment is coil and magnet experiment. And the second one is coil and coil experiment. Now this is nothing but coil and magnet experiment. In this experiment, we make use of only two things. One is nothing but a circular coil of wire like this, having several number of turns, and another one is nothing but a bar magnet. The free ends of the coil, the free ends of the coil are connected to a current sensitive device known as galvanometer. Because we know that galvanometer can detect even the weakest current of the order 10 to the power of minus 6 ampere to 10 to the power of minus 9 ampere. That means micro to nano ampere current can be detected with the help of galvanometer. Now when we move by keeping the coil fixed, so coil is kept at rest. If we move the north pole of the bar magnet, what happens? The magnetic flux linking with the coil changes. How it changes? It changes in an increasing manner. As a result of that flux change in this coil, what happens? An EMF is induced. That means since the circuit is said to be closed, because the two ends of the coil are said to be connected to a galvanometer, therefore it is nothing but a closed circuit. Current is induced because of change of flux. So move the north pole of the bar magnet. What happens in this case? The flux goes on increasing. Say for example the magnetic flux, that means the number of lines of force passing through this coil or cutting this coil. Cutting this coil means just linking up. are passing through the area of the coil. That's the meaning of cutting the coil. It may keep increasing. Say for example, 5 lines may become 10 lines, 10 lines may become 15 lines, 15 lines may become 20 lines. As a result of this, what happens? An EMF is induced in the coil, thereby current also starts flowing. Now the galvanometer shows the deflection in one of the direction. So if the current is flowing in the circuit, this is an external circuit. Galvanometer connected to the coil acts as an external circuit. Now the pointer in the galvanometer shows the deflection in one of the direction. So this will be the direction of the induced current in the coil. Thereby pointer shows the deflection. The deflection in the galvanometer indicates that current is induced. That means electromagnetic induction is said to be demonstrated. Because first of all, we cannot see the magnetic field lines. Thereby change in the magnetic flux cannot be noticed by means of our eyes. We can see only the coil, magnet and as well as galvanometer. When we move the magnet, flux change do not come to our notice. Similarly, the flow of electrons, because of change in flux, the free electrons of the coil will begin to move. As a result of the motion of the free electrons of the coil, current is generated. So, flux cannot be seen, motion of electrons cannot be seen. Then how do you say that electromagnetic induction is said to be confirmed or demonstrated or proved? It can be confirmed or it can be said to be proved only by means of deflection. If there is a flow of current, then only there will be deflection. Suppose while moving the north pole of the magnet, suddenly if you stop motion of the magnet, if you stop moving the magnet, what happens to the deflection? Deflection becomes zero. No deflection is noticed. So the deflection is momentary deflection, that means temporary deflection. Only at the time of motion of the magnet, deflection is noticed. As soon as we stop moving the magnet, no deflection is noticed. Remember this. So temporary deflection or momentary deflection. Then suppose if you withdraw the north pole of the magnet, then what happens? Then also flux changes. Suppose instead of moving the north pole of the magnet towards the coil, now move the north pole of the magnet away from the coil. Once again, the magnetic flux linking with this coil goes on changing. How it changes? It changes in a decreasing manner. Initially, it used to increase. Flux increases. Now, the flux linking with the coil decreases. 20 line may become 15 line, 15 line may become 10 line, 10 line may become now 8 lines, 8 may become 5 lines. So, like this. 5 lines may become once again 2 lines and it goes on decreasing. Finally, it becomes 0. So, therefore, it decreases. Once again, an EMF is induced in the coil, but this time the direction of the induced current is opposite. That means the induced current direction will be opposite, means look here, this will be the direction of the current. Now the galvanometer shows a momentary deflection once again. In which direction? Means in opposite direction. Opposite to that of what? That of the first case. So here also once again the direction of the current in the coil reverses. It will be like this. So that means whether you move the north pole of the bar magnet towards the coil or you withdraw the north pole of the magnet from the coil, in both the cases flux change takes place. In one case the flux increases, in another case the flux decreases. This change in flux is responsible in producing the induced EMF and induced current. So therefore the deflection confirms that electromagnetic induction is taking place. Suppose if I want to increase the amount of deflection, that means if I want to increase the induced current or induced EMF, then what should be done? Move the magnet fast. Move the magnet fast either towards the coil or away from the coil. That is one method. So, motion or the speed of the magnet is increased. Speed of moving the magnet is increased. Okay, so this is one method. Second method, move both the coil and the magnet can be moved towards each other or away from each other. Look here, you can move both. Instead of keeping the coil at rest and making the magnet only to move, if we move both, then what happens? Relative velocity increases. So initially when only magnet is moved, we consider velocity of magnet itself. When both the coil and the magnet are moved either towards each other or away from each other, in such a case relative velocity increases. When relative velocity increases, flux change also takes place in large amount. When flux change with the coil takes place in large amount, then induced EMF also increases. That means now by moving both the coil and the magnet either towards each other or away from each other Okay, this is another way of increasing the induced EMF. There are different ways like this. And one more method of increasing the induced EMF is increase the number of turns in the coil. So that's another method. This is also possible. Increasing the number of turns in the coil. Okay, so these are the different ways of increasing the induced EMF. Suppose instead of moving the coil, if we keep the magnet at rest and if move the coil, keeping the magnet at rest, if we move the coil itself either towards the magnet or away from the magnet, then what happens? Then also same effect is noticed, but the deflections are opposite. Whatever deflection we notice when magnet is moved towards the coil by keeping the coil at rest. Now opposite deflection is noticed when the coil is moved by keeping the magnet at rest. So in both the cases we come across the electromagnetic induction. Whether you move the coil or whether you move the magnet or whether you move both towards each other or away from each other, that is immaterial. In all the cases, what happens means EMF is generated. Only thing is there must be a relative motion between the coil and the magnet. Relative motion means motion of magnet with respect to coil or motion of coil with respect to magnet or motion with respect to each other. Only if there is a relative motion, then only flux change takes place. Because while moving the magnet, suddenly if you stop moving the magnet, the number of lines of force remains fixed linking with the coil. It is not going to change. If 5 lines are there, only 5 lines will get linked. It's not going to change if you stop moving the magnet. So that is why there should be a relative motion between the coil and the magnet for the change of flux to occur. Only if change of flux takes place, then only an EMF is induced. Thank you.